they call themselves irrigation districts because they wanted to control the basin. When we had a vote for AB 2453, where all the residents said, we don't want these guys part of the deal. But they were gonna pay their own way. Now they're looking for other people to pay their way because they don't wanna pay it. In those minutes, they talk about how they're gonna claim eminent domain. Monterey Water Authority, if they don't let them take water behind Nacimiento, on the Nacimiento pipeline, on the Salinas Reservoir. I already talked to the Army Corps of Engineers, to Monterey. They filed an application 3.5 years ago, which was supposed to go dead in 90 days to get 14,000 acre feet behind Nacimiento and 14,000 acre feet behind Salinas that they claim magically all of a sudden appears that nobody knew was there. And they want to use everybody else's infrastructure to do it because they have no infrastructure. It would be no problem today if Paso Robles didn't waste over 5,000 acre feet of Nacimiento water and put it to use. So we've been doing this for 9 years. Just multiply 9 by 5,000. San Luis doesn't use theirs. There's been over 10,000 acre feet that's not used. The pipe has a capacity of 3,900 plus acre feet of reduction because of the shitty repairs they did. They killed 2 people in the pipe. They can't even get water down to San Luis because they got to do a repair. So you got no covers over the 60 plus ag ponds that are evaporating water from June to October, which are the evaporation. That's low hanging fruit. You don't have any stormwater capture, which the governor already has an executive order that you can self-certify and do stormwater capture. That's free water. They're talking state water. They're not table. The county is the only one that has table A water, and they can only get treated water, and they only have a contract to get 4,830 acre feet. They can't add to that unless they redo the contract that was signed in 1992. And there's no water. They just got approval to sell 13,500 acre feet of excess state water from the San Luis Reservoir on Tuesday, which it's a good thing they did it because they lost it. But that money, almost $6 million, plus another $6.5 million, which they sold on some previous times, can only go in a special account, and it has to be, should be returned to the property owners because it was a special tax, and those people that paid it got zero benefit. We don't have a water problem, we have a management problem. We have a shallow well problem, and the shallow well problem is because of the grouping of the vineyards around the ag clusters that were allowed to be formed when it was dry farming and cattle around them, and then the vineyards came in around all through the center of by the airport and wherever. There's your problem. The Creston wells, they don't have to be less than 400 feet deep. All the other areas, they gotta be 800 to 1,000 feet deep. We're the best part of the watershed. The water comes from us first because we're the highest elevation and everything goes north. So I know my time is up, but I gotta tell you, there's a whole bunch more stuff. If you want to get into a deal with these guys, they've been meeting behind your back for the last 1.5 years. And Gibson's been meeting with them, and you guys don't even know what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment, please?
So, take a little different tack on this. I agree with everything you said. So you guys, like you were asking about what's it going to cost, how they're going to charge you. So right now, this whole PVC, these GCAs are operating illegally. You know what the MOA is, you should look at it. I have a list of violations this is the list of the MOA provisions that are being violated and have been violated for a very long time. And one of them is that each of the GSAs, so 100% of the GSAs have to approve the budgets. There's no budget. Mr. Gibson took it upon himself a couple months ago to take a draft budget, and I gave you this stuff a month ago, if you remember, a draft budget that was not approved 100%, changed the numbers, took it to his supervisors, and got it approved, it doesn't mean a thing. Nobody else, no other GSA approved that, including you guys. So the rule is, if you don't have an approved budget and you individually as a GCA have not approved it, you are not obligated to spend any money for what's going on here. And that's exactly where you're at. So what that means is, right now, you have control. You have control. And if you look at those budgets, you don't see anything except for these plans, these multi-$100,000 plans that have to be done every year. And there's others. There's other items on here that are all illegal. The MOA says that this PVC organization is a Brown Act. It's not a Brown Act. They don't have an independent director. Brad really is an employee of the county answering to Bruce Gibson. He doesn't answer to you guys, okay? They have no legal counsel even. And I don't like the GPA, but it does have some good points. Independent director, independent legal counsel, and so on. None of that even exists with this outfit. So, I've said before, I'm not even sure why you want to be in this. But, and also, you only are charged 3% of whatever the total budget is if they ever had one. Okay, so it's not a big number, but it's a number, and so on. So looking at this GPA, and it's, I read what you guys have here, I get it. There's no details there, where is the control for what's spent? Bruce Gibson just had their board approve a $300,000 study. We have 5 studies for the same thing that have been done over the last several years that all came to the same conclusion. So I don't know who, I guess he's going to pay for it because it's not on that budget anyway. So anyway, I'm just letting you guys know that, right now, you need to get a lot more information before you even start considering GPA. And you also should be standing up for what isn't being done legally right now.
Thank you.
Let's go. Okay.
If I can just clarify something, because the budget did get weird, which I was made aware of at the PDCC meeting that I attended, where all the other legal counsel for the other agencies attended as well. There is an approved budget, it doesn't have 3 line items that were arbitrarily, from what it seems like, removed by the County Board of Supervisors, and nobody knows why. So aside from those 3 items, all of the agencies have approved that budget, but there is some question over these 3 line items that the Board of Supervisors removed.
Have we seen the budget?
You gotta be kidding.
Yes, yeah, you did. Kelly presented it, you approved it.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
And then he changed it.
And then they removed 3 line items from it.
So he changes the budget and
They
then
didn't
it's an
change the line items
approved budget?
themselves, they just didn't approve 3 of them. So 3 of them can't be spent,
Okay. Okay.
so.
All right.
Wow.
Does the board want to approve any direction at this point?
No. So we're just gonna.
I'm still in here as much as I want.
This is,
I encourage you to really look at the GSP, and I think it's chapter 3 that has it lays out the triggers for when you're required to do things and what the responsibility is, because it is, it's, and we can pull, maybe Kelly would be helpful to pull what we spent on the last annual update, or the annual report.
100,000.
yeah, I don't know exactly what the total cost was, but obviously we're only paying 3%. I think our total pay into PVCC last year was less than $18,000.
18,000.
And our budget this year is $18,000.
And the other, the other larger item that keeps coming up is what's called the Miller Program, which is the voluntary fallowing policy. And so this board needs to decide also if that's one of the options in the GSP, but it's not a requirement that that be implemented. And so this GSA needs to decide too, if that's something this GSA is in support of. And is it now or is it later? Because there seems to be a big push, at least in the conversations I'm having, of how are we going to implement the Miller program. It is not my understanding, though, that that program is something that's necessarily required to be implemented.
The county in particular is really pushing it.
Right.
So the Miller program, that's of taking out agriculture and not replanting? Is that-
That's that policy, the county implemented that if you don't plant for a period of time, you lose those rights. And this
Yes.
policy would say if you voluntarily fallow, then we'll extend out that time period so you don't lose your rights. But that's the idea of the policy. But again,
But then you have to reapply though, every so often.
So
hasn't really been formed.
yeah, keep in mind that most of these programs, even though like the Miller program has been developed more than a lot of them, but it's still a concept.
Yeah.
It's not like you could take that out to the street and work on it right now.
Well-
So part of what would have to be done is that if a JPA is formed, that JPA would have to decide, okay, is this something that this JPA should be doing? And then if they say, okay, yeah, we're going to take that on, it's going to be one of our projects, then, how is that charged? Who pays for that program? Because part of that program is to pay people to fallow them. So
So you need money to develop
that
it.
you need money to pay for that, and who do you go get the money from?
Right.
Because I can't charge you to go pay him.
So what is, I talked to Mr. Neely about this a little bit. What's kind of interesting right now, and I don't know if all of you are aware of this, that grape prices have fallen drastically. So they estimate that we have about 60,000 acres too many of grapes in the state. 60,000, it's a lot of grapes. So, and I'm sure that, there's several thousand here in this county. And then, some of the grapes are older and everything. The thing about government, what they give, they can take away. And so that's what I don't like about that. I mean, so you get down that sticky road and, it doesn't sound, it sounds good on the surface, but I'm sure the devil is in the details there, so.
I completely agree with that about the devil in the details. The county historically, especially with something like the Miller program, they're going to say, if they're going to say this is a JPA thing, or they're going to turn around and say it's a land use thing, and we're going to just blanket it across the entire county because we're the county and we have land use authority, which they did with the water offset ordinance on the state in the past. And it affected agricultural properties inside this district. So even if we do step out of the JPA, the county still can say, we have land use authority and you're just gonna do whatever we say anyways.
Which is really unfortunate because, that is really low hanging fruit, for just somebody that needs to stop farming so anyway, enough said on that.
So we're not looking for any sort of specific direction. As long as you guys aren't saying, no, don't go any farther, then we're gonna keep working with the rest of the groups to work out some finer details, and we'll be bringing those back as we have them. If anybody on the board has any particular feelings on how they want, or how they would like to have something structured, or that they really don't like something in particular, feel free to let me or Christina know, and
As
we'll
a
relay that.
practical matter, I think that the representatives should be elected and not appointed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that that's only right, and not put the pressure on somebody that is employed in the district to be making those decisions.
I'm going to agree with that. After what you guys have expressed to me, I do support that position. And I would also support that it should probably be one agency, one vote, not population or acreage based. We had that fight 10 years ago and that went nowhere.
And we've, you know, now you guys, we've been pushing that in already in many of these discussions. You know, everything I've said is that we haven't had a real detailed conversation about this, but I would be very surprised if our board went along with allowing another agency to have more votes.
Yeah, and
Okay,
the last because we had this conversation, I don't want to forget this. If we have a JPA, there also needs to be legal mechanisms and safeguards in place, so if someone starts going rogue, okay?
That's the problem with this MOA is there's no, even, you know, you can talk about all the breaches in the MOA you want, but there's no teeth to it.
Yes.
There isn't really any recourse. Whereas a JPA is different. They're held to much higher standards and there can be clauses placed in the formation agreement for that kind of.
Thank you, that's all. I'm sorry, Mr. President.
With all due respect, but we've been going around in circles, but Mr. Graywalt and Mr. Powell we have a presentation set up with them at the next meeting.
Right.
And I would suggest that everybody on the board, and basically everybody here, listen to their presentations, because they have everything documented and so on. I mean, you can sit and talk and so on. I haven't learned a thing today, or tonight. You know, with the discussions here, no disrespect to anybody, but I didn't get any answers. But we'll definitely get some answers at the September meeting, and they'll have everything documented, or we can really make a decision on which way to go with this. So that's all I got to say.
Okay, we done?
Yep.
Okay. At this time, I reconvene to the San Miguel Community Service District Board of Directors.
Mr. Smiley, I should have done this. This is the July 24th minutes of the San Juan
Yeah.
Water
Please
District
give it to
that
the
was
board clerk.
mentioned.
I'll make sure they get it. Okay.
Okay. This section is intended for the opportunity of the board members to make brief announcements, request information from staff, discuss future agenda items, and/or report on their own activities related to the district business. No action is to be taken until placed on a future agenda. I have something. I want to have our handbook amended to include censure for members that violate adopted practices and procedures pertaining to board meetings, committee meetings, board powers and responsibilities included, and the expected behavior and decorum and ethical duties and other manners. Something with teeth more than just a reprimand. And I'd like to see some language in there that spells that all out so that we can vote on it in a resolution.
I would second that, and I would also add that it should cover trainings for board members who do not do their trainings, like the harassment or the ethics training for filing their 700 forms.
Do we have support for Director Collins' add-on?
Yes.
Yes. Also, I would like to make sure that the documents that Director Calvins has there is included in the minutes of the meeting. If they are already, then that's moot. But all the information that he has be included in the minutes which he outlined in his remarks.
Director Collins, do you want any of your information redacted off of your utility bill?
This has already got a lot of redacted, but we can check after the meeting on good stuff. Make sure there's no personal information. We've already had a doxing incident, so.
Okay, just to make sure that we cover that.
And you'll need to get that to us.
Okay. Anybody else have anything you want to put on a future agenda?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I want to put on a future agenda because Tamara does such a great job. You know, like, could you put the numbers on the, you know, the regular agenda that you put out?
I can't.
How come?
Oh, you mean the page numbers?
Yeah,
Oh, the page numbers?
yeah, the
Yes.
page numbers.
The page numbers,
Yeah,
yes. I thought you were talking about like when it comes out, it says cover page and I can't
No,
put
no,
what it is. Oh, yeah,
No,
no problem.
because you make these for the meetings. It'd be nice to have them, you know, because there's a lot of things on the packet.
Yeah, get someone else to say yeah, and I'm good.
So just so we're clear, that's something she does outside of creating a board packet.
Yeah.
So that's something she would have to, it would create more work to do that. So we can do that if that's the desire of the board. But just making it clear that that is additional process for her to do.
Yeah, but it would be very helpful to everybody and the people of San
I'm just
Miguel.
making it clear that that's an additional
Yeah.
effort. So I'm not saying not to do it, I'm just making it clear that it's an additional.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, like I said, you got 350 pages and, you know, just looking at the regular agenda and trying to, well, see what is this one? But this right here is really helpful.
We have,
So, we have a policy related to how the agenda is structured. And so what we would need to do is we bring it back to amend also so that the agenda includes the numbers. And so we just need a second to bring that back to the board.
We're talking about including the numbers on the agenda.
Right.
Yeah,
And I print that off before I come here from the previous week when it's notified from tomorrow. It might have page numbers on it, so I don't know what he's talking about.
No, yours does not have page numbers.
yours don't have page
Now,
numbers.
these page numbers right here on the side.
See the ones
Oh,
here?
on the side.
ones
Yeah,
here.
that's what we're talking about.
But we-
Okay, gotcha. All right.
The board members get these, but we don't get them till the meeting.
we have somebody that's willing to second.
Debbie, bring back the board handbook.
Okay, I get it.
If it does not create additional work to the Madam Clerk, I could support that. That's just, you know, more additional
I
transparency.
see what you're talking about.
That's helpful, there we go.
It does create more work, but
If it,
it's fine. There you go. You guys-
How is it that you just create this one then? Why is there?
I take it separately and do it separately.
But
You guys have requested it,
probably
yeah.
put some page numbers on there.
Man,
The first thing first would be
Okay.
to amend the board handbook.
Is that all you
So
want?
we're gonna bring back the handbook anyway, we've got a second on it, so
Yeah.
it'll all be included in
Okay.
that revision.
Okay. So anything else? Director Collins, anything else?
no, sir.
Director Gregory? Owen, you said nothing, so right now we'll adjourn to the closed session, closed service district agenda. Yeah.
9:10?
Wait, we need public comment on the closed session.
Yes, we do.
If there is any.
Public comment on closed session.
We've got 2 items.
Here we go.
Okay,
Okay, check.
nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it.
Nobody wants any of that.
Okay, again,
On the closed session admonishment, I'd like to see that in bigger print the next time. Closed session
Okay.
admonishment.
okay.
It is very tiny.
Thank you.
Sorry, just took a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny.
It's so tiny that it could read classes with things I don't ever use those.
Alright, so we'll recess, take
Do you need time?
Okay.
I got it. We're gonna recess. We need to get cleaned up and out of here.
Yeah.